Shalom, my friends. We're going to discuss a few thoughts about the parasha of this coming Shabbat, Parashat Shemini. Parashat Shemini has in it many laws that the Torah brings, but I would like to talk about one very specific law regarding the fact that God forbade the Jewish people to eat many kinds of food. There are animals that we can eat, there are animals that we cannot eat. The world can enjoy itself eating things that we are forbidden to eat, such as there are animals that we are not allowed to eat. The pig we are not allowed to eat. The Jewish people cannot allow itself to eat pig. Do we know why? We don't know. It's called chazir, for example. And the Torah in this parasha says, "Ve'et hachazir ki mafris parsahu vehu gera lo igar." The chazir, the pig, you are not allowed to eat. Big punishment for someone who eats it. And yet the world finds it very delicious. In fact, the Jew is not allowed to say, "I don't like pig." Just as he is not allowed to say, "I have no temptations, I don't want to be with a woman that is forbidden to me. Anyway, I don't like it." That's not true. The Talmud in Masechet Yoma on page 82, we find there the words of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, who said, a Jew is not allowed to say, "I don't like pig," or "I don't want any forbidden relations." If I mean, we have the same temptations as every human being has. The only thing is that a Jew is allowed to say is, "Ma e'aseh she'avi shebashamayim gazar alai." What can I do? God required from me not to eat forbidden food, not to commit adultery. Do we know why? We don't know why. Why is it that the world can enjoy itself in many things that we cannot enjoy? That's a question that in fact brings to the mind the fact that the Jewish people, when they stood at the mountain of Sinai, when God says, "Would you like to receive my Torah?" they said, "Na'aseh v'nishma." We agree to accept. We accept the Torah without even having to understand it. In this week's parasha it says, "Zot hachaya asher tochelu, zot hachaya asher lo tochelu." This animal you can eat, this animal you cannot eat. The Jewish people didn't know about that, but they accepted the Torah. What's going on? When he went to the other nations and he proposed to them to accept the Torah, they said, "Tell us first what is written there." When he said to them a commandment that does not fit their interest, they refused to accept the Torah. But we are something else. What's going on? Well, it says, for example, "V'chol asher etz hashoretz." In this parasha it says, shrimp you are not allowed to eat. Or any rampant animal, creature, you are not allowed to eat. The world enjoys shrimp. We cannot eat shrimp. And so many more things. We cannot. Why? Because we have accepted the Torah. Since we accepted the Torah, you have to abide by what you have accepted. Right? We have to understand that what is it that made us accept without even asking what's in it? Are we crazy, perhaps? Or maybe we have a certain power that is specifically for the Jewish people, a spiritual power. There is a spiritual thing about the Jew that perhaps he inherited from our forefathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And to be counted among the Jewish people means that you have the possibility to have this kind of spiritual power. The Torah in this parasha says that God demands from us to be holy. V'yitkadishtem v'yitem kedoshim ki kadosh ani. You have to be holy because I am holy. How can he ask us to be holy like he is holy? He is God. We are not God. We are just human beings, full of faults and many kinds of weaknesses. He's asking me to be holy? Well, if the Torah says that, that means that God knows that we have the possibility to be holy. I'm not saying that every Jew is holy, but there is something hidden in the Jew that is, in fact, a spiritual power. Is it possible that this is the reason why the nations find us different? The Torah in this week's parasha says very clearly, "Ve'hivdalti etchem min ha'amim lihiyot li," which means God says, yes, I separated you from the nations so that you can be my personal nation. Is it possible that this is the reason why the world hates the Jewish people? In every generation, the Jewish people suffered persecutions all the time. Even today, when we have the state of Israel, God bless it, we still are hated. What causes this hatred? The Talmud says that on the day when the Jewish people stood at the mountain of Sinai, why do we call it the mountain of Sinai? Sinai is derived from the word sin'ah. Sin'ah means hatred. That the nations started to hate us since then. What have we done to deserve this hatred? Well, they find us, they probably would not be able to say it, but they feel that we are different. And nobody nobody likes a different person than him. We cannot eat what they eat. That's why we are hated. There is a possibility of a certain hidden jealousy. But there is something that the non-Jew understands. When he sees a Jew, he knows there is something else in the Jew. That's the spiritual power that made us say, Na'aseh v'nishma, that we declared that we want the Torah even though we don't know what's in it. Amazing. The Talmud says there is a certain story in the Talmud, also in Masechet Yoma, on page 82. There it says that on the day of Yom Kippur the Jew fasts. Every Jew, even the non-religious Jew, he knows that on the day of Yom Kippur we fast. So there is a question, what about a woman who is pregnant? Does she fast or not? Depending on the month and depending on her state of health. But let's say if the woman who is pregnant says she smelled that there is some kind of food that is good and she wants to eat it. She feels temptation for it. She wants to eat it. So she says to the people, please bring me the food. But that's Yom Kippur, what should we do? We go to the rabbi. They went to Rabbeinu HaKadosh, Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, and they asked him. And he said to them, you know what? Go to this woman and whisper in her ears that it's the day of Yom Kippur. And then, depending on what will be her answer, we shall do what she wants. If she says, I still want the food, give her. Because we don't want her to endanger her life or anything in her system. As you know, if she has temptation and she does not get it, there might be a miscarriage of some kind. It is a known issue. So they went to the lady and they whispered in her ear, today is Yom Kippur. In a second, she became calm. And the temptation that she felt, she says, no problem, I want to continue to fast. What made her change her mind and her temptation? That's a spiritual power. That power which every Jew has, regardless of how he observes the Torah. I mean, think about it for a minute. There are so many Jews who do not keep the Torah, do not keep Shabbat, and yet ask them to relinquish their Jewishness. They wouldn't. In fact, we know in our history is replete with people who gave their life rather than to give up their Judaism. What is the power that makes them stay Jewish despite everything? The fact that the Jewish people is still alive today is a riddle. The whole world cannot give you an